welcome to COVID-19, Cooking with Feelings. Today I decided to dress a little bit more accurately since, let's be real, none of us have worn jeans in weeks. One moment. So this is not what we're cooking today. Today we're making Runzas. Runzas are a cabbage and beef filled pocket sandwich. Apparently they originated in like Nebraska, which is not where I'm from, but somehow they migrated down a little more to Missouri, and then I had them when I was a kid, and now I'm going to teach you how to have them. They're sort of like the OG Hot Pocket. Beef, cabbage, a bunch of random veg that I'm trying to use up, salt, pepper, nutmeg, maybe ginger, we'll see. But first we got to make the bread dough. I am not really an expert at bread dough. In fact, my tendency to go off the rails actually hinders my ability to make baked goods well. So I'm actually following this one pretty darn close to the rules. So the first thing you do is you're going to start with 1.5 cups of flour in a bowl. And then you're going to put in your yeast. Calls for 1/4 ounce. I have this much, so this is how much I'm using. I do not know if that is more or less than 1/4 ounce. Then you add some salts. I ground up my salts because I do not have crushed salt. Just gonna sprinkle it in. Seems good. So mix those all up. Okay. Oh yeah, and some sugar. 1/4 cup. Alrighty, so then I was supposed to heat up 3/4 cup of milk, 1/2 cup of water, 1/2 cup of butter. Once it's cooled down to like the temperature you'd feed your baby if it was a bottle of milk, then I'm gonna add it. Okay, my butter, water, milk has cooled to a temperature that I deem acceptable. So I'm gonna mix that all in with my yeasty flour. There's a lot. Just gonna stir that around until it's a soupy soup. It's very much sort of like a biscuit dough. Alright, I'm gonna add the eggs, which you're supposed to add 2 eggs, but I only had like some egg yolks left over from a different recipe. That's literally all I have left, no eggs. So I'm adding those. Don't know if that's a deal breaker or not, hopefully not. It's gotta make it super yellow though. Ooh. Now I'm gonna start adding flour. The total amount of flour is 4.5 cups, but obviously when you're making a yeast dough, that can fluctuate based on humidity and temperature and altitude and whatever else. So basically you just add it until it feels right, which that I can get behind. I'm going to actually put in a little whole wheat flour for a health touch. Now let's mix this all in. This may take a while. Call me crazy, but I only put 3.5 cups of flour, and I feel like that's pretty stiff. I don't really want to add any more flour right now. So I kneaded in the existing flour, and now we're going to want to cover it and let it rise. I like to cover it in a clean bowl, a clean greased bowl, oiled. So I only have one big bowl. So I'm going to move this, wash this, grease it, stick the dough in, stick it in the like about 80 to 100 degree oven to rise. So, you always want to plop your dough in. Let me just manhandle this a little. You want to plop it in and then flip it so the top is greased. Okay, then we're going to cover this with a damp cloth or plastic wrap and let it rise for an hour at least. Alrighty, now we have our bread dough rising back here on a warm stove. Now we're going to chop up a bunch of cabbage And we're gonna fry it up with our ground beef. These are just some random options. Some mushrooms, some bell pepper, and some onion. So first things first, chop up cabbage and veg. So I'm just gonna make a big bowl of veg. This is a really great way to get out pent up aggression, pent up emotion, pent up rage, pent up anger. Sorry. Yeah, just keep chopping those vegetables. Turn your temperature up high. Flop your ground beef into your pan. Season freely with ground pepper, salt, and for some extra fun, I'm going to do a little nutmeg and a little ginger. Once your meat has started to brown up pretty good, and I mean pretty good, keep your burner on real high because we want this stuff to brown, not to steam. We're going to dump all our veg bloop, on top. Burner is at really high. Let's add a little more salt on our cabbage. Then we're just going to cook the absolute crap out of this. Okay, confession time. I vastly overestimated the amount of cabbage I needed, so I actually removed that much because the cabbage to meat ratio was not looking good. So last minute adjustments are totally acceptable. Okay, it started to get where it's browning and sticking to the pan, so that means it's done. It's doing some caramelization, which is what I want. So I'm going to turn it off and let it just sort of finish cooking out in the pan. So now you're going to take your risen dough, see how big, much bigger it is, and divide it into 12 sections after you push it down. Deflate. Now divide it into, I don't know if I'm going to get 12. Whoa, interesting consistency. That's weird. It's not what I expected. So I only have 8. I'm going to go ahead and go with 8. See how that is. So you're going to smash it all out and preheat your oven to 350. And you're going to add a scoop of your filling. And then I'm going to add some cheese. This is smoked Gruyere. In whatever way possible, fold it on over. That's our last one. Look at this tray of beauties. Now we're going to put them into the oven at 350 for 15 to 20 minutes. Here we have our completed Runzas. Nice golden brown on top. Little buns. Cheers.